What is up, YouTube's Mountain Man Magic, and we have another spicy deck tech for you. I've always enjoyed Priest of Forgotten Gods, and Dreadhorde Butcher, and Gutter Bones, and all these really fun black and red cards, but I've only played around with them a bit, mostly janky type brews, left them up on the shelf, didn't do much with them. But then, a friend, Warlord Hank, Cardboard Paladins, y'all might know of him. If you're ever on Reddit, he does these awesome just recaps of the arena scene and standard. If you're into that kind of stuff, I would definitely recommend you check him out. But he came and said, "Hey, Mountain Man, I've got a proper spicy brew for you that you might enjoy because it's got some of your favorite cards, like Gutter Bones, and Judith, and all kinds of sacrifice stuff, but it's also got Chandra." And then it clicked. Chandra, create some elementals, sack stuff with the priest. And I thought, you know what? There's no one spicier than Chandra in a literal sense. So I'm with you. Let's burn some stuff. Let's get into it. So in the 1-drop spot, we start off with a playset of Gutter Bones as our ideal turn 1 creature and a fantastic sacrifice option because we can bring it back. But we also have 3 Footlight Fiends for largely the same purpose, and then 3 Shocks because it's still a shockingly good card. In the 2-drop spot, we have a playset of Priest of Forgotten Gods and Dreadhorde Butcher, because if we don't get one of these down on turn 2, we're probably not super happy. And Legion's End, because it's great against a lot of the meta decks right now, Esper, Hero, annoying mono red and mono white, mono blue even. It's effective against vampires. You can also target Hydroid Krasis with it, which is pretty nice, or ramp options like Llanowar Elves, Incubation Druids. 2 CMC creatures. Great. And then, of course, in the 3-drop spot, we have 2 Judiths because she's great, but we don't have to have her on board. Still a very good card. And then 3 Mayhem Devils because we're going to be sacrificing a lot of stuff. But I also like the card because it helps with the Bant Scapeshift zombie deck. Really puts a hurting when they do play Scapeshift. And then a playset of the spiciest card in this deck, the rare Chandra, Acolyte of Flame. She just works so well in this deck once we get her down because she triggers Mayhem Devil, she gives us sack outlets for the priest, and just being able to swing with creatures helps us against control decks. If we can go turn 1 creature, turn 2 priest, turn 3 Chandra, the game might be over at that point because we're going to have sack outlets, we're going to have card draw, and we're going to have the ability to keep everything our opponent plays off the board. It's as simple as that, but we still have some heavy hitters on our top end. Our 4-drop, unsurprisingly, is Rekindling Phoenix, which is great. It's not rotation proof, but it's not completely irreplaceable come rotation, and that's our only 4-drop. In our 5-drop spot, we have God Eternal Bontu because he gives us some sacrifice options to help us not run out of gas, and then that sacrifice isn't so much of a drawback if we have Mayhem Devils on the battlefield. And he's just a beefy creature that our opponent has to answer with Menace. That can definitely get in for those final points of damage to close out a game. And then our final card, 2 copies of the 6-drop Flame On version of Chandra, Awakened Inferno. Her +1 emblem is forever obnoxious, but we'll take it because it's, you know, going on our opponent, not on us. And she does a little bit of everything. Wipes out that board if our opponent does have a go wide strategy as well. Plus, who doesn't like evolving their magic cards in game 2? You know what I mean? Like, you get to evolve Chandra. Okay. The land base is pretty straightforward as well. 9 swamps, 7 mountains, and then 4 of each of the check and shock lands, which I totally own in Arena. And then getting into some play testing, here is the deck playing against what I thought was going to be Bant, Scapeshift type of stuff, but then I was like, oh wait, no, maybe it's Elementals. Either way, they're going to be in for a rude awakening if they don't have some removal because of the board wipe potential this deck has. Like, we are legitimately going to wipe their entire board, and they may not see it coming. Now, this is a bit aggressive usage of the Priest of Forgotten Gods, but it's pretty nice to show off how powerful this deck can be if you have some nice draws and you get your board filled out well enough. Now, Chandra is basically our we cannot lose type of card. So no matter what we draw, if it's a land, we play her. If it's another creature or spell, we can play it down and keep removing whatever our opponent plays while dealing them damage. And as you can see, we do play Chandra down, our opponent scoops, even though we're probably a bit aggressive on the usage of the priest. And then the second match I'll show you here is playing against mono red. And the reason I really like this deck against mono red is most of our creatures do an additional thing. So do theirs, but right here we'll see playing with our 2-1, they take the damage, which I'm pretty surprised by. But they shock here, they probably should have attacked to see if we were going to block. But when they shock it, you know, we can obviously take out their creature. And now at 4, when we play Rekindling Phoenix, that's a pretty tough card for mono red to deal with. Either way, you can see that this deck is really tough for mono red to keep up with because of how versatile our creatures are and the synergy between all of our creatures. Now our draws here, thankfully we don't flood out, but as soon as we get Chandra down, it's pretty much GG. Attack for the win, life's good, feeling great. Now this is a game we lose because we miss our land drops, and you can see we can apply a good amount of pressure to the board early on, but unfortunately, if you miss your land drops and your opponent, especially if they're playing control, doesn't, they're probably going to have some type of option to stabilize at some point. And really, we could jump ahead here because I'm not going to hit my third land drop. And this is a really frustrating game because I felt like we were so close. And it was nice. Hey, look, we can keep recurring threats. At this point, the game is basically lost because we don't have a way to do 4 damage directly. Chances are they have a counter spell, and from here on out, they're just going to get crazy card advantage, and we're not going to be able to close out the game. I was a little sad about it. I just like beating up on Esper control, but unfortunately, they get their Teferis down. Rotation can't come soon enough, and we end up losing the game. It's a tough life, but hey, it happens. But not to worry, here's us getting some revenge against an Esper control deck. Honestly, I think a lot of it has to do with us being on the play, and as soon as you get down Chandra and you have some creatures, it's really hard for Esper Control to deal with multiple threats in one turn, at least early on. So for your viewing enjoyment, you can see how this deck really does play well against Esper Control, even if they have some removal, with our creatures being able to come back and constantly add threats to the board. It's pretty hard to deal with. Also, shout out to my patron Eddie for hooking me up with some of the Planeswalker decks. That helped me get some of the cards I needed. As you can see, I got a Skark and Hellkite in this version of it, where I was trying it out. It seems fine, honestly. That could be one of the cards to replace Phoenix when rotation hits. And 6-drop Chandra is a beast. It does well in any red deck. It does well against any deck. And at that point, our opponent concedes, and you can see this deck can beat Esper Control. Here's another loss where our opponent really draws well and is able to combo off in the right way. I was going to throw him the nice with the whole Blood Sun Lotus Field interaction because it just gets them basically 3 land. And as you can see, we are so close to closing out this game, but they get drawn from Dreams. And now from here on out, unfortunately, because they can counter our spell there, we're going to be within an inch of winning. We are so close, but they kill our stuff. Sometimes your draws in this deck don't work out quite as well because we don't have the draw smoothing. We get them down to 1. Again, I'm hoping if we just draw Shock, we could pull it out and make them have to have the counter spell, but I think they had it anyway. But again, that's a tough loss to swallow. To follow it up, I'm not even going to speed this game up. Here's a nice gameplay of when you can get that ideal turn 1 Gutterbones, turn 2 Priest, turn 3 Chandra when you're on the play. I don't have to speed it up, you know? I play Chandra, I go to create the elementals, and before I can even get them on the board, the opponent knows what's coming, they scoop, victory, life's good. So that's pretty much it. I really like this deck. I think it's awesome. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next video.